We just got our first set of data from AP's new survey of voters, which we're debuting for the first time in this midterm elections. And one of the things that we looked at is what issues were important to voters as they headed to the polls. And what we found is that voters were really focused on healthcare and immigration, two issues that have really been at the forefront of this campaign. We also found that voters were very interested in the economy. Donald Trump has been running on a strong economy. He also, though, has been running really on immigration, particularly in the closing weeks of the campaign. Democrats, meanwhile, have been running on health care. If you've traveled to any of these states, you've seen Democrats really pushing this issue, really focusing on things like protecting pre-existing conditions and protecting Barack Obama's health care law. On healthcare, 6 in 10 voters think that the government should be responsible for ensuring that people have healthcare coverage, which is an interesting result given the debate over healthcare in America. Voters are really divided over the Affordable Care Act. This is Barack Obama's signature healthcare law. Just as many say that that law should be kept in place as say it should be repealed. Now, Republicans made repealing Obamacare really a centerpiece of their campaigns during Obama's presidency, but even some Republicans have backed off of that issue as they've seen the Obamacare law grow more popular. As far as President Trump, voters are more favorable about his handling of the economy than other issues, and that's no surprise given that the economy is in a strong position. About 2/3 of the voters that we surveyed here had positive things to say about the state of the economy. But what's interesting in looking into those numbers is that you had a pretty sizable share of the electorate, about half, who are worried about the impact that the Trump administration's tariff policies could have on this good economy. The president really inserted himself into this election in an aggressive way, particularly in the closing weeks of the campaign. He really implored his voters to imagine that he was on the ballot himself. Certainly his policies were on the ballot, and 2/3 of voters that we surveyed said that Trump was a factor in their vote. We've talked a lot about enthusiasm in this election, and our survey showed that interest in this election was extremely high. The overwhelming majority of voters said they were very interested in this election. One of the big pivot points in this election was the debate over the confirmation of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, and 3/4 of the voters that we surveyed said that that debate was somewhat important in their decision.